He's not here.
He's not here. He's usually
Somebody
here.
He
go.
comes in right at 7. Just saying. He's not into the friendly chit chat.
Good morning, Scott.
Hello, Scott.
Oh, we can't hear. Oh, here you.
I made it just on
Oh,
time.
okay, good. Yes.
Perfect.
Whew, these early mornings come early. Maybe not for you, but for me.
You must have late evenings.
I went to bed. It was before 1, so it was early. I mean, or late, whatever. Good to see you.
Scott, do you want a written evaluation of your last evaluation? I didn't send you one.
Now, if you would just frame it, keep it at home.
Oh, maybe I'll use it as a screensaver.
Use it for kindling in the fireplace.
Well, I don't have one, but maybe on the grill.
Okay, everyone. Good morning. Good morning. It is 7 o'clock, and that means it is time for our Earlybird Toastmasters meeting. I am Randolph Bastine, the Sergeant at Arms, and the mission of a Toastmasters meeting is to provide a supportive and positive learning experience in which members are empowered to develop communication and leadership skills, which results in greater self-confidence and personal growth. As we continue to meet by Zoom, we ask that you practice good Zoom etiquette by keeping yourself muted unless you're an active speaker. We encourage you to use the chat feature to send a message to everyone or a private message or feedback to a speaker. And now it is my honor to present to you today our presiding officer, who would be Jim Day.
Good
Yay.
morning, early birds. Everybody up and at 'em. Here we go. Another train running down the track with a hope. It's not a train at the end of the tunnel instead of a light for the positive day to come. This morning, let's hear from our invocator. Who is the invocator today?
I am. Thank you. Thank you, presiding officer. And the invocation would be from the Christian tradition today from the book of Luke, chapter 23. And it's just a small verse, but I would also say something from the heart, my heart. The verse is when Jesus was on the cross, he said, "Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do." And that is important. And no matter what we have our faiths in, forgiveness is important, not for the offender, but important for the person that has been offended, because the offender often may not even know that they offended, or may not know that they, or may have let go and didn't care, or because of whatever lack of empathy or mental capacity, couldn't even help themselves. And when we live with unforgiveness, we continue to beat ourselves up. So, and not to say that forgiveness is easy, but to take on that hard challenge and forgive those who have probably hurt us is healthy for us. Thank you. Back to you, presiding officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bastine. And now stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
And now let's hear from our grammarian, Mary Helen Day, for the word of the day. You're muted. You're still muted, Mary.
And the word of the day today is evanescent. And that's an adjective. It's something that is evanescent, vanishes quickly like a vapor. And the fragile, airy quality of evanescent things reflects the etymology of the word evanescent itself. It comes from a form of the Latin verb evanescere, which means to evaporate or to vanish. So let's all use the word of the day in our introductions today. My name is Mary Helen Day.
Thank you, Mary Helen. Now we will proceed to self-introductions. Mary Helen, could you unshare your screen?
There we go.
Thank you. And we'll begin this morning with Toastmaster Jim Gold.
Mr. Presiding Officer, fellow Toastmasters, I don't see any guests here. I am competent Toastmaster Jim Gould. I also have an IP4 and a PM2 in Pathways, so I'm working my way through this stuff. And I'm looking forward to hearing this wonderful speech from my wife this morning. I'll be your awe counter, so be listening for the ding. Did you hear it?
We did. Thank you.
Mr. Presiding Officer.
Toastmaster Farrar.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Jose Ferrer, and I am coming to you from Javia in Spain, where the evanescence of the air makes it such that the full moon that came yesterday was absolutely gorgeous. Or was it the day before? Back to you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Next, Toastmaster Quinn.
Fellow Toastmasters, and my name is Tom Quinn here in Fort Lauderdale, watching the beautiful moon. There's a special name for it. Gosh, I can't remember. I haven't had my
Strawberry.
It's a strawberry moon. Is that what it is?
Yes.
As though you have strawberry jam, strawberry moon. Nonetheless, it is a big strawberry and was really nice last night. It was shining right as it was setting in my room, right in my face. And I woke up gently at 5 o'clock to say, oh, how nice. What a sweet, nice thing to see.
Thank you, Toastmaster Quinn. Toastmaster Bastine.
Good morning, presiding officer and all fellow Toastmasters. I am Randolph Bastine, Sergeant at Arms, Motivational Strategies 2 in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. It's evanescent word. It's actually my kids and I, we were discussing Noah, and we discussed how they were asking about the rain flooding, and we started to talk about Florida and why it's so hot in the summer and the humidity, and what helps cause that humidity is, and the rain, the whole cycle is I didn't use this word. That would have been pretty cool if I had the evanescent, the evaporation of the water in the air. So we're feeling that, hot mugginess during the summer, and then it just happens all over again when it rains and rains. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you. Toastmaster Richmond.
Mr. Presiding Officer, fellow Toastmasters, I am Alita Richmond, coming to you from Southwest Pennsylvania, where the atmosphere is definitely not evanescent because the humidity is so heavy. It just lies, it doesn't evaporate. I mean, you can dry off with a towel, even in the air-conditioned house, and there's still that lingering yuck. But anyway, I'm working on completing my presentation mastery path and also engaging humor. Happy to be here.
Thank you. Toastmaster Anna.
Mr. Presiding Officer, fellow Toastmasters, I'm Anna Ilsen, Innovative Planner 3, Engaging Humor 3. I Googled the strawberry moon because I was curious about it. I'll read it to you if I may. July's full moon has been nicknamed the strawberry moon, but don't be deceived by the name. Its origin has nothing to do with the moon's hue or appearance. Native American Algonquin tribes inhabiting the northeastern U.S. have used the strawberry moon to mark the time for gathering ripened June-bearing strawberries. That's the reason for the name. And I believe crocodile tears, i.e. in adolescence, are pretty evanescent, and effervescent. Back to you, Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ilson. Toastmaster Mary Helen Day.
Didn't I get off easy by introducing that crazy word that we confuse with effervescence so much? I guess it's something that, hey, but I find sometimes the good things in life and the bad things in life all have an evanescent quality to them. And so we need to focus on the now and enjoy where we are. Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Mary Helen. Toastmaster Marie Rock.
Mr. Presiding Officer, distinguished Toastmasters, fellow Toastmasters, my name is Marie Rock. I'm a visionary communicator 5, strategic relationships 2, and just dipping my toes into engaging humor. If you open a bottle of Prosecco or champagne, you need to commit to drinking the whole thing or it loses its effervescence. Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you. Toastmaster Chris Gould.
Mr. Presiding Officer and fellow Toastmasters, I am Chris Gould at PM5, and I did not even know it was a full moon here the other 2 days. But since all the talk, this is the last full moon that you see behind me. This was the view from our room in Tuscany, and that was a full moon in Italy. We loved our trip. I'll be telling you a little bit more about it today. And I think that travel is evanescent. I love travel. I love the feeling of getting out of your comfort zone, meeting new people, learning new things. But as soon as I get home, the feeling's all gone again. I need another fix. I'm getting antsy already and we just are trying to plan our next travels. Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gould. Toastmaster Scott May.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I have completed Presentation Mastery 1. I am on the board. No longer score 0. Good to see you all. So my wife woke up Memorial Day and after 40 years of work said, I'm done. So she is retiring. It's lovely. So my availability on Thursday mornings is very evanescent as we are going to be traveling most of the next 3 or 4 months, but I will join in when I can. And the other is, of course, when we were looking and planning retirement, stock values were different. It's amazing how stock values can be evanescent in this time, gone like a vapor. And Mr. Presiding Officer, I do have a couple small jokes. Should that fit into the program? Thank you.
Yes,
Back
sir.
to you.
In a moment. I am Jim Day, DTM, your presiding officer and your treasurer. And like Chris Gould, I feel that the travel is an evanescent, or I can't pronounce it, that it goes away, the excitement of the trip evaporates, and we're ready for our next fix as well. We've already got that one scheduled. Toastmaster Scott May, our joke master for today. What do you have for us, sir?
Okay, well, there's nothing like a little tomato soup to soothe the soul, even if it's cold, over ice, with a celery stalk and vodka. And when I go to someone's house and they tell me to just make myself at home, the first thing I do is throw them out because I really don't like visitors. And the last one, I just found out there's no popcorn in popcorn shrimp. Guess there's no reason to try pot roast. Mr. Presiding Officer.
Thank you, Toastmaster May. Now it is time for our Toastmaster of the day. Who may that be? Marie Rock.
Thank you, Mr. Presiding Officer. As most of you know, the whole point of having a Toastmasters meeting is to enhance our communication skills. Truly, it enhances our entire presence wherever we are, whether it's with our families, when we're at a speaking engagement, when we're at our places of worship, our clubs. We learn to speak more clearly and to be better listeners in Toastmasters. And as we can see from recent events, as things are changing with our clubs and people are going through different challenges, it also enhances our leadership skills because we've seen so many people step up to do the jobs to make this Toastmasters meeting work, to continue our growth. So thank you all for stepping up. Now, the meeting has 3 parts. It has table topics, which is our impromptu speaking. We have our prepared speeches, and we also have our evaluations. And I can't do this Toastmaster meeting alone, so I do have some helpers. Our counter today is Toastmaster Jim Gould. Jim, will you tell us what you plan to do today as counter?
Yes, Madam Toastmaster, the counter is responsible for noting the ahs, the ers, the you knows, the speaker's verbal pauses. And I'll remind you with a ding. I have my little dinger going. Be careful with that. We used to have fines for offending our ears. We don't do that anymore, but maybe we'll get back into that. And I'll be listening, and I'll have a little report at the end. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mr. Gould. Distinguished Toastmaster Mary Helen Day, can you tell us what you'll be doing as the grammarian today?
I will be trying to pay attention to everything everyone says today. Now, that may be a challenge because for some reason my mind is not really focused, but I will note the use of good language. And if anyone is slow enough to use bad language this morning and they're slower than I am, I may catch them. Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Day. And we'd like to acknowledge our timer, man of many hats, our incoming president, Toastmaster Bastine. You'll be hearing from him later. Now, to start us off is the ever effervescent Toastmaster Anna Eelson.
Madam Toastmaster, that's how effervescent I am, or evanescent. Okay, the purpose of table topics, as was shared, is to provide opportunities for members not speaking on the program to participate and practice and demonstrate impromptu speaking. Mr. Timer, would you give us the timing requirements for table topics?
Yes, and thank you, Madam Topic Master. Timing requirements for table topics are 1 to 2 minutes with a 30-second deviation, only at the end to qualify. At 1 minute, you will get the green screen, which you see here, and 1 minute 30 seconds to amber screen. 2 minutes, you will get the red screen, and just before I'll start flashing like crazy. All right, back to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Timer. The topic that I chose today is summer. The summer solstice will happen in 5 short days. That's the longest day of the year when the sun travels along northernmost path in the sky. There's activities that are quintessentially summer related. So we'll explore some of those. Let's see. One of them is jumping over waves. Jumping over waves. Toastmaster Jose Ferrer.
Yes, my fellow Toastmasters, jumping over waves is a fun thing to do. But I have to tell you something different that goes on here. It's called La Noche de San Juan, the night of St. John. That is the actual summer solstice. That's when the day becomes longest, and then they start decreasing from there forward. It is highly celebrated in this part that I'm living in right now, and they do it by building these tremendous wood fire things that people jump over, hopefully. Now, about 5, 6, 7 years ago, my daughter came from the States and she happened to arrive one day before the night of San Juan. And so we took her to this area where they've got the firemen and they got the ambulances because, people are drinking and doing what they're doing. And so I said, Alexandra, look, they're going to start jumping. And there was this humongous fire. And this guy starts running towards the fire, a little inebriated, and trips and falls and goes head first into the fire. And Alexandra looks at me and goes, "Oh my God, is that what all these people are going to be doing all night?" So I said, no, it's much better to do wave jumping. And I will do that this summer rather than jumping over fires. Back to you, Madam Table Topics.
Oh, thank you, Toastmaster Frederick. Okay. Let's see. Slip and slide. That childhood game of summer. Slip and slide. When was the last time you used a slip and slide? Toastmaster Jim Gould.
Madam Table Topics Masters, a slip and slide. I can only remember one time in my life where I actually played with a slip and slide, and that was in Virginia Beach in Virginia when I was probably in 4th grade or something like that. We always lived around the ocean, and we didn't need pools and we didn't have them in those days very often. But since I grew up on several different islands. I was born on Solomon's Island and I lived on Long Beach Island, and I never had to worry about playing in the water. But slip and slide was one thing that we did. You can get hurt doing slip and slide, I want to tell you. Because you know what it is. It's just a long strip of plastic that you put down on the ground. Hopefully it has a slope on the ground. Like I say, we lived in flat areas. We didn't have much slope on the ground except on the dunes. Anyway, you wet this thing down and then you run and you jump on it and you slide, hopefully, on the plastic. But, a lot of times there'll be rocks and glass and stuff on the other side. If you miss it, you can really get hurt. So my recommendation is stay away from the slip and slide and go jump in the ocean or go jump in the lake. Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster Gould. Okay. Stargazing. Distinguished Toastmaster Mary Helen Day.
Yeah, I think that's a pretty neat thing to do, is go stargazing in the summertime. Usually because in the wintertime, it's too cold to stand out there like an idiot looking at the stars. So it's much better. And I think the two times that I actually saw a sky full of stars, and it was so amazing, better than any of the planetariums that you could go see. First was in Texas in 1970, was it 72? And it was when they had that's the time of the meteorites. I'm not sure it's called a certain thing, but and we were out in the middle of Texas in the western part before you get to the cities where the sky was so clear and you could see all the stars. And that was the time all the meteorites are coming across the sky. And I think I saw 4 shooting stars, as we would call them at that time. I had never seen a shooting star in my whole life. And here we saw 4. Amazing. Next time was in Peru, and we were out there in the mountains headed to Machu Picchu. And of course, there's nobody out there. And this time the sky was so chock full of stars that I just lay there on my back, staring up at the sky with my mouth open. Hopefully I didn't swallow a few flies, but my mouth was open in the awe and majesty and hoping that I could have shared that with just somebody special in my life. And maybe at some point in time, I can get Mr. Day to go out there and look at those stars and stargaze with me. Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Mary Helen Day. What is your favorite summer camp memory? Toastmaster Alita Richmond.
Well, believe it or not, Madam Topic Master, I do have a favorite summer camp memory. I guess I was probably in 5th or 6th grade, and I got to go to Jamonville, which is a Methodist church camp over in Uniontown in the mountains. They have this big, huge cross on the top of the mountain that you can see for miles and miles and miles around. They had spring water up there. They had a swimming pool, and when you would dive into the spring water, I don't know if anybody else has experience diving into spring water, but there is actually a tingle, a different tingle. I love that. But what was so much fun is we had a project to raise some money there, and our project was, my team had barf cans. And we would go around and collect money, and we had our barf cans collected, and we would say, let's see, barf, barf. I don't know, the food you ate. It was so gross. It was so gross. It was just ridiculous. But we collected all kinds of funds for whatever the project was by going around with this barf can. Oh my goodness. It was delightful. It was a delightful, wonderful, wonderful time. I loved it. I loved the tingle I never will forget the tingle of diving into a spring-filled pool. Thank you for that memory.
Thank you, Toastmaster Richmond. Picnics. Picnics. Distinguished Toastmaster Jim Day.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Picnics. When I was very young, we did not have a lot of financial resources. So we didn't go to restaurants a lot, but in the summertime, we would go picnicking at the local parks in Syracuse. And that was so much fun because we got out there and my 2 brothers and myself could go absolutely insane and running around and tearing things up without any potential retribution from my father or my mother. When we do that in the house, it was kind of a price to pay. So the picnic ground was kind of our freedom, our letting loose to do whatever we wanted without hurting any of the animals, of course, the squirrels, the birds, etc. But such fond memories. And oh yes, the potato salad. Always had to have the German potato salad, not the regular potato salad with mayonnaise and mustard. Madam Topic Master.
Thank you, distinguished Toastmaster Day. Homemade ice cream. Homemade ice cream. Toastmaster Scott May.
Oh, thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Oh, I spent much of my life as an ice cream addict. As a kid, we were blessed that occasionally my parents would take us maybe to a Dairy Queen or something similar. And my brothers would get a cone or maybe one dipped in chocolate. Me? Oh no, I went for the banana split. I wanted the whole thing. And Mom let me. Could not believe it. Truly one of the delights of life. But now as I've gone and had gained things like wisdom and heart calcification, ice cream's not nearly as frequent as it was then. Although when I do have it, it is an absolute joy. We did try making homemade ice cream a couple times. My wife and I actually bought a ice cream maker. It's this wooden thing with this little motor and all this, but somehow the salt that goes around it to keep it super cold got into the ice cream. Now, there are certain ice creams that they put a little salt in, a little caramel, and that can be delightful. But when it's more salt than sugar, nah, no thanks. We'll pass on that. So I'm skipping the homemade ice cream and we're heading out to get some. Madam Table Topic Master.
Thank you, Toastmaster May. And the last one for today is summer reading. Summer reading, Toastmaster Randolph Bastine.
Thank you, Madam Topic Master. Summer reading. Summer reading. That is an interesting one, which we're actually doing some summer reading this summer with my two daughters. My oldest daughter, she has been put with the task to read I Know Why the Caged Birds Sing by Maya Angelou. And it's funny, we're talking about summer reading because just like 2 nights ago, because I asked her, how did the first chapter go? And of course, because it's a more mature book, but that's the level that we're trying to actually go this summer because she just turned 13. And I say, baby, you have to grow up a little bit. So, and she says, Dad, why can't I pick a book that I want? And I say, well, you had your whole school year to pick all the books you want and you didn't pick any. So I'm not sure you want any books. So I have to pick something for you. So now you're all of a sudden interested in books. So yes, that is what we're doing this summer to, hopefully I'm hoping to have like a good summer where that she experience a little more maturity and goes into the next year with a little more confidence and understanding on life. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bastine. So that concludes our table topics for today. Mr. Timer, how did our participants do?
Thank you. Everyone qualifies. Toastmaster Jose Ferrer with 1 minute and 27 seconds. Toastmaster Jim Gould with 1 minute and 37 seconds. Distinguished Toastmaster Mary Helen Day with 1 minute and 35 seconds. Toastmaster Alita Richmond with 1 minute and 47 seconds. Distinguished Toastmaster Jim Day with 1 minute and 21 seconds. Toastmaster Scott May with 1 minute and 19 seconds. And Toastmaster Randolph Bastine with 1 minute and 32 seconds. Please be sure to vote. The polls are there. Thank you. Back to you, Madam Topic Master.
Thank you. Please make sure to vote. The poll came up. And back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Madam Topic Master. I think you are all bright stars in the sky and just illuminate every Thursday morning for me. I'm grateful for you. And at this time, we're going to take a 3-minute break. Mr. Timer, will you give us a 3-minute break while we coordinate the evaluations with the speakers?
Since we only have me and one other short speaker, I would like to ask for 8 to 10 minutes for mine rather than the 5 to 7.
I'm sorry, you'd ask to what?
8 to 10 minutes rather than
8 to 10, Randolph. Or Chris, I think he may have gotten
he must have stepped away. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, you're 8 to 10, and Tom is 3 to 4.
That's
And
correct.
let's see,
I'm the short speaker.
Can that music be turned down? You're the third speaker, Tom? Is that what you said?
No, I'm the second speaker.
Second speaker. Okay.
It's a second speech and a 2-part requirement.
I see.
And
Right.
it's introducing public introduction of an individual.
And we only have 2 today.
Is Alita evaluating Chris and I'm evaluating Tom. Is that the plan?
That's usually the plan. We go by the
written,
same order as the agenda, unless someone has made special arrangements, which some people in this club have been known to do. Do we have any special arrangements today?
Every speech is special.
Okay.
And the arrangements are always special. And the evaluators are even more special. And some of the speakers are short.
Lovely. Okay, music back. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, great table topics, Anna. So Jim and Chris, I don't know how long you will be here. I will be here next week, but the 30th, I will not be here. So, and then I guess the first meeting of July is when I do the Sergeant at Arms.
that's when you start, yeah, first meeting in July. And we're here in July, no problem. So if there's any issues, we're
Who
here
starts
too.
the meeting?
Well, Randolph always, you do. I mean, the Sergeant at Arms starts
that's
the
part of
meeting.
the duties. Okay.
Yes.
But if I'm here, I usually, if I get in and nobody's here, I'll start the meeting myself. But that can cause some issues, like with polling and some other things, but no big deal.
Good to know.
Randolph, I think you stepped away when I said I'm asking for 8 to 10 minutes rather than 5 to 7. Okay.
Thank you. And that is our time for the break. It's 3 minutes and 12 seconds.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bastine. Toastmaster Bastine, will you give the timing requirements for our speeches today?
Yes. Timing requirements for formal speeches are well, we have two. We have one, I believe 1 3 to 5 minutes with 30-second. I'm sorry, 3 to 4 minutes with a 30-second deviation before and after to qualify. And then we also have 8 to 10 minutes with a 30-second deviation to at the beginning and the end to qualify. And just before, at your time, you'll get the green. At your time, 1 minute after the time, you'll have the yellow and red at the time, and I'll start flashing just before your time is up. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bastine. Our first speaker today, Toastmaster Chris Gould, Presentation Mastery 5, Engaging Humor 1. And this is from the Engaging Humor Pathway. And it's va bene. It's an Italian expression which literally translated means it goes well. After spending a month in Italy, this is pretty much the only Italian that Chris has learned. So she uses it for everything. Here to give us a glimpse of her Italy trip is Toastmaster Chris Gould. Are you ready, Chris?
Va bene, Madam Toastmaster. Yes. And are you all ready to hear a little bit about why we went to Italy? Va bene. Jim and I just returned from a month in Italy, and I learned one expression in Italian. Va bene. Literally, it means it goes well. But depending on the emphasis and the expression that you give it, it can mean anything from okay to wow, that's wonderful, let's go. And it has been our number one takeaway from our month in Italy. Jim and I are saying va bene all over the place to each other. So why did we go to Italy? Do you need a reason? Everybody should go to Italy at least once in their life. The history, the culture, the people, the views, the scenery. But we did, in fact, have a reason. It was a writer's workshop led by Carrie Tennis. Let me tell you a little bit about Carrie. So this is carrietennis.com, and he gives these writers workshops. And if you see in here, it says this one would be May 12 to 22 in Castiglione Fiorentino, a Tuscan hill town. Now, why do I trust Carrie Tennis and his writing? He wrote for salon.com for many years. And he is actually famous enough to have a Wikipedia page. Let me read you from his Wikipedia page. Carrie Tennis is an American author and columnist. He's best known for his work as an advice columnist in his column Since You Asked on the website salon.com, which ran for 12 years, 2001 to 2013. Critic Siobhan Welch says of Carrie, he has resurrected the advice column into a relevant, even thriving literary form. He is the anti-Dear Abby, with a style more reminiscent of an essayist's ruminations than the pat responses usually found in print. Carrie has also published several books, but most importantly, and here I am with Carrie in Italy, most importantly, Carrie is my friend and my high school classmate. So we have known each other for 50 years. These are our high school yearbook photos. And I've taken his workshops before. The first time was here in Florida, but then he and his wife, Norma, moved to Italy. They have lived there full time now for 7 years, and they live in this delightful, off the beaten track Tuscan town of Castiglione Fiorentino. It is one of those towns you hear about that is a walled city. This is the main gate into the town. And as part of the workshop, our accommodations were arranged at something called the Residence La Santucci. And this is a picture of the outside of that. We've been there before, and I couldn't wait to get back. I think Jim just wanted to go back to see Louisella again. Louisella is the owner proprietor of the place, and she is a delight. When we went in 2017, we did the north of Italy. So we started with the workshop in Tuscany, and then we went north from there. So this time we decided to do the south. We started by flying into Naples, then we visited Rome, we went to the workshop in Tuscany, then we came down the East Coast, and we ended in Sicily and flew out of Catania. So, but this writer's workshop was the anchor, if you will. It gave us the reason, it gave us a lot of camaraderie with the other people and getting back with Carrie, and it was writing. Va bene. This writer's workshop is not a class, it's more of a retreat. And here are some of the other people in the retreat. Carrie doesn't teach us about writing. He just provides the atmosphere and the inspiration for us to write. He comes up with a prompt, something like a happy time or left behind. He starts a timer and everybody writes. So I was there because I like to write. And when I am in this environment and inspired by Carrie, it's amazing what comes off my pen or my fingers on the keyboard. When I'm home just by myself, not so much. I can't think of anything. So the process is actually a little like Toastmasters. Because we got to know each other through our writings. In Toastmasters, we speak and we get to know each other that way. In the writer's workshop, we write, and then we read what we wrote, unless you don't want to, and that's perfectly fine. It was such a delight, and I got to know these people. Some of them were there just like me. They like to write and they like to find your voice. That's what Carrie says this is. It's just writing and finding your voice. Others, like Devora, the blonde in the picture before, were working on a novel, and she is a science fiction writer. She's already published some. So every time she wrote, no matter what the prompt, she was telling us about a world on a planet far away with different kind of life forms. And it was just amazing. I would often write about my mom. I experimented, that's what you get to do here, with writing in the first person. So do you want to hear a little sample of one of my writings? Va bene. The prompt was that voice in my head. I'll just read the first paragraph. That voice in my head, the one that always used to be giving me ideas of where to travel, what to write about, philosophical ideas of things to eat, that voice in my head seems to be going away. It's quiet where it used to be very noisy. It used to be so noisy that I tried to learn meditation to subdue it. I wanted the quiet, the peace. Now I have that, and I don't like it. I look at old photo albums, and I'm not sure where the photos were taken or who the people were in them. My daughter comes to visit me. At least I think it's my daughter. And she's talking about her life and her travels. I can't keep up. I wish she would just be quiet. Like her husband, I always know him because of that mustache. He's quieter. He calms me. So that was a start of trying to get inside my mom's head as she went through her journey of dementia. And the other people in the workshop encouraged me, there might be a book in there. I'll probably have to go back to the workshop, which happens to be in Italy, a few more times. But speaking of my quieter half, my husband, Jim, what did he do while I was in the writer's workshop? Well, first of all, the writer's workshop wasn't all day, every day. It was mostly just mornings. So he got to have a nice, quiet, relaxed morning. And he was also part of it. We did a lot of group things together, and he was invited. He was part of the group as we did these other things. So he could spend time walking around this beautiful place called Castiglione Fiorentino. Several mornings, he would walk down. Oh, this was where we sat and wrote. Anybody would be inspired sitting there, right? But Jim would go down to the grocery store at the bottom of the hill because our room had a little kitchen and a dining area. And I think I enjoy his food as much or more than any food, even in Italy. Va bene. Speaking of food, there were many meals that the group took together, and we even took a cooking class one day. The teacher's name was Giuseppina, and this was her home. And we ended up eating the food that we made during the cooking class. We sat down to this delicious meal. So that was kind of the main reason we went to Italy, was this writer's workshop in Tuscany. It was delightful, but there's 2 more weeks worth of stories. Do you think I should give some more speeches about our adventures in Italy? Va bene, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Toastmaster Chris Gould, for that wonderful, inspirational speech. We already have people planning to travel. You've ignited the fire, and I don't know if we'll jump over it or not. So our second speaker today is Toastmaster Tom Quinn. He's on the path of dynamic leadership. His speech title is SB 2508, Florida Legislature. Get involved in the legislative process. Involvement is an essential element to good citizenship. Please welcome Toastmaster Quinn.
Madam, gentlemen, I'm here to introduce to you Ralph, who's going to talk to you about Senate Bill 2508, passed by the Florida Legislature. Many of you, as I am doing now, drink Florida water. Most of our water comes from the aquifer, which is right beneath us. And that aquifer is fed by Lake Okeechobee. In 1960, there was a change in an old, unique gift. Unique because it's only in Florida that we have the Everglades. It's only in Florida we have Lake Okeechobee. Sugar growers came in order to enhance the growth, fertilize their plants. Nutrients flow into the lake. They bubble up, they cause algae, toxic algae, effervescent smells. And we've been trying to fix that problem in the last 10, 15 years. And Florida's been on the path of cleaning up the Everglades. Ralph is one of the environmentalists that has helped in that process. But this past legislative session, without going to any committee, without having any hearings, there appeared in the Senate, the Florida Senate, a bill that reversed some of the progress that was made by the state to clean the Everglades. It was a process that reinstituted old rules that took from the state the opportunity to control the growth in the Everglades and delegated it to Florida Power and Light, a group of Everglades sugar growers, and some farm interests. They could then declare what would be protected and not. Ralph, among others, friends of the Everglades, were aghast. There were about 5,000 letters that were sent in to the Senate. The bill was passed by the Florida Senate and the Florida House and went to our governor. Over 3,500 people wrote the governor, called the governor, protested the passage of this bill into law. Ralph is going to tell you what he did and how he implemented and how he got the enthusiasm and the drive to get that bill repealed, vetoed by the governor of Florida in the free state of Florida, so that the rights of the people would be governed and held intact and the water would be preserved. Madam Toastmaster. Ralph.
Thank you. Thank you, Toastmaster Quinn, for that inspirational, informative speech. Whew. Mr. Timer, may we have the timing results for our two speakers?
Yes, both speakers qualify. Toastmaster Chris Gould with 10 minutes and 8 seconds. Toastmaster Tom Quinn with 3 minutes and 58 seconds. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bastine. And I believe we will have a poll. Here we are. Vote for your best speaker and send them a little note in the chat. Thank you. Now it's time for evaluations. And our general evaluator today is none other than our incoming president, Toastmaster Randolph Bastine.
Thank you. Yes, sorry. Okay. Yes, we have evaluations today, and sorry. I will evaluate the meeting, and also we have evaluations, and the evaluations are also timed. So, and the timing requirements for the evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes with a 30-second deviation at the beginning or at the end to qualify. At 2 minutes, you'll get the green light. 2 minutes and 30 seconds, the amber light, and 3 minutes, the red. And I'll start flashing just before you're all done. And we have 2 evaluators today evaluating our first speaker. Tom Quinn is Toastmaster Alita Richmond. I'm sorry. Evaluating Toastmaster Chris Gould is Alita Richmond. Yes, sorry.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator, fellow Toastmasters, and Chris Gould. I always love to hear you give any kind of presentation, Toastmaster Chris, because regardless of what you're talking about, there's always an educational part of it. So good, so good. Bob Benny, it goes well. Absolutely, your trip went well. This was a well-organized presentation where you opened with a question. Hey, do you want to hear why we went to Italy? And then you told us why. And you know, you told us about this writers conference that you went to, and then you had a little twist and showed us the pictures. It was a classmate, someone you've known for 50 years. How wonderful was that? To have such a good relationship and your experience with that group. The purpose of this particular project, though, was to show your body language or gestures and other nonverbal communication. Your nonverbal communication was that excellent slideshow, a very impactful part of showing how important this trip was and how you enjoyed it. You told us about your writing thing, and then you turned around and says, and now what did my partner, my silent partner, Jim, do while he was there? Jim did a lot of cooking, and you had slideshows showing that as well. So your use of nonverbal communication was excellent. You are a pro at doing that. You read a lot of stuff when you were telling us about your friend, Carrie Tennis, which is fine, because when you're reading stuff that's specific and critical, reading is good. I liked when you shared the portion of your writing with us about your mom, that voice in my head. And that sounds just like something that you would reveal to us. You have such a good way of using the correct words to get your point across and emotional. And then you wrapped up the whole speech by asking a final question. What do you think? Should I tell you more about our trip to Italy? Toastmaster Gould, I've been to Italy myself, and the more the better. I look forward to more. Bob Benny, it was a great job here. Thank you so much for sharing this unique trip that you had, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you. And now evaluating our second speaker, Tom Quinn, would be Toastmaster Scott May.
Thank you. Thank you for the introduction, and thank you to all fellow Toastmasters, but especially Toastmaster Tom Quinn. Wow, thank you for a very valuable and passionate speech. You're working out of the Pathways Dynamic Leadership, and this was a level 3 speech, one of 2 speeches, social speeches. And the information given to me as an evaluator is that this project is to address skills needed to compose a speech for a social setting, which could be any type of social setting. And the purpose is to practice delivering this type of social speech in front of the club. I'm asked to listen for a well-organized, well-delivered speech with appropriate content for the type of social speech. The speech title, SB 2508, Florida Legislature. Oh boy, I was ready for a dry speech for what they might say on the floor of the legislature, but that is not what I got. Something a lot more spicy, and thank you for that. So many things to love about this. I love that very early on you engaged us. You gave us a hook by saying the name Ralph. Well, who is Ralph? Where is Ralph? What is Ralph's role in this? I had to keep listening to answer that question because you planted that question right from the start. And then you trickled in a little bit about Ralph as time went on. You told us he's an environmentalist. Okay, now it's starting to fit in. To help highlight the importance of this, the water you sipped from a cup, was it water? Was it vodka? I don't know. But the point was made that liquids are important to our health. So that was a nice thing to add. And throughout the speech, your passion came through. This wasn't a smiley speech. This wasn't a hug me speech. This was a passion speech about saving our environment and the impact of government. Serious topic. And you were prepared, you educated us, and it's relatable as most of us live in Florida, but even if you don't live in Florida, we all drink water, and probably all of us care about the Everglades. As far as areas for improvement, wow, not many. The only one I found is the way I pronounce aquifer is aquifer instead of aquafire. I even went online and looked it up, but I knew what you meant. The groundwater. And hey, maybe tomato, tomato, potato, potato, maybe that is another way to pronounce it. I'm not sure. Besides that, I don't have others. So I think the speech was very well done, a very valuable topic, well delivered. Now my ask is next week, please bring Ralph because I want to hear what he has to say too. Great introduction. Thank you. Well done. Back to you, Madam General Evaluator.
Okay, yes, thank you all. And for our timing, both evaluators qualify. Toastmaster Alita Richmond with 3 minutes and 5 seconds. Toastmaster Scott May with 3 minutes and 2 minutes and 55 seconds. Please be sure to vote. The polls are there. And now to go through the meeting, I will call our grammarian to go over the grammarian's report. Distinguished Toastmaster Mary Helen Day. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. We did have some people that used effervescence correctly. That was Randolph, Alita, Anna, Chris, Scott, and Jim, but everyone else seemed a little confused with effervescence. So I think what this meeting was needing a little more effervescence, and you just filled that right in the blank. I loved what Anna's word quintessentially, or how did you say that, Anna? Quintessentially, or well, we know that she used it correctly and it was a great word. But what I also enjoyed was all the words about summer, and some of them were euphonious, like slip and slide, ship and, no, it's much better to. Okay, never mind. All right, so Jose, it's much better to do wave jumping. yes, than jumping in the fire. I totally agree with that. Jose, I totally agree with that. Jim Gould, stay away from slip and slide and just jump in the lake. Alita, Germanville, huge cross, tingle of diving in a spring-filled pool. That was a great visual. Jim Day, picnics, potential retribution from my mother and father. Scott Day, gained heart calcification, gained wisdom and heart calcification. I like that. Randolph, summer reading. I'm not sure you want any books to read and more confidence, but you need more confidence and understanding of life. Those are great verbal expressions in table topics. Now, I have to admit, Chris, I just got into your speech and I wasn't listening to a heck of a lot of it. But once I understood I was grammarian, I did, because you went in with that Bob Benny. And it reminded me of General Motors had a car. It was a Chevrolet. It was called a Nova. And it was not very popular in South America because in Spanish, Nova means it doesn't go. So yeah, but so we like that Bob Benny because that's a good one. And I would often write about my mom, and that voice in my head seems to be going away. And then about Jim, he's quieter, he calms me. Tom, only in Florida do we have the Everglades and Lake Okeechobee, and Ralph is Friends of the Everglades, rights the people of the state of Florida preserved. That was very definitive. Alita, a very impactful showing. You had a good use of words. And Scott, I was ready for a dry speech and I got something spicy. And then we got the potato, the tomato. We always love hearing that because it sounds so great. And that's it. I am so sorry. My head is not functioning today. Next time, we are going to just do it upright as grammarian. Mr. General Evaluator. Oh, do we have a winner? You know what? I don't know if we do or not. But listen, let's give it to Scott May because that potato, it's just sticking in my head.
Thank you. And for our next, we will call our counter Toastmaster Jim Gould.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Toastmaster Randolph Bastine, you're getting better. Only 6, this is not bad at all. Toastmaster Tom Quinn, he had an ah. Toastmaster Jose, 1 ah. Toastmaster Alita, she had an ah. I heard a in there, but that doesn't really matter all the time. Not bad. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you. And now to evaluate the whole meeting. Once again, we have successfully completed, well, it's not totally over, but had a great meeting as always to help us get through our peak of the week, as Toastmaster Paulo would say. As far as our invocation by myself, I hope that everyone was touched by it. Our table topics were awesome. Thank you, Toastmaster Anna. As always, you always have some great witty table topics, I love to also hear you do table topics as well. The quality of the speeches were both awesome. They were from 2 different extremes, one with one political and one with very adventurous, which thank you for that, because you allow, and just to say that when you all talk about the trips, it is very appreciated because it allows us to have a little bit of something that we could look forward to. So thank you all for those always wonderful speeches, and you also bring the photos as well. And for our Toastmaster, our Toastmaster has been awesome. And as Toastmaster Marie mentioned earlier today, we appreciate everyone because everyone steps up when needed, and we always come through successful. And as far as general conduct, everyone we're always all good, and everyone looks great. Thank you. So now I am going to return the meeting to our Toastmaster of the day, Toastmaster Marie Rock. Thank you.
Thank you, Toastmaster Bastine. Excellent report. And we are looking for forward to our leadership training this Saturday. So now it's time for the awards. I know you are all just waiting with bated breath. Who will it be? Who will it be? Oh my goodness. Our best table topics. Dreamy, dreamy, and cool, Scott May. Our best evaluator, Tomato, Scott May. And our best speaker of today, Papa Day, Master Chris Gould. Thank you all for just a fabulous meeting. To our presiding officer, Jim Day.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. What another completed great meeting. We always do so very well. Who is our substitute VPE this week? Is anyone taking on the position to talk about next week's agenda? Well, I guess that's me. For next week, the meeting coming up, we have all positions appear to be open. I have signed up for a speaker position. Please, anyone go directly online to our website and sign up for your positions. Joke master, Toastmaster, table topics, speakers, evaluators.
I'll do table
counters,
topics and
etc.
I'll put it right in the website.
That would be appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, please go on because I do not have access to add anyone myself to a
Oh,
position.
wait a minute. Is next Thursday the 23rd?
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
Ah, sorry. No, I'm going to be on a plane to New York. So, well,
Uh-oh.
I'll be Toastmaster and I'll put it in the agenda
Thank
Anna.
you.
and
I'll-
recap.
I'll do
Yeah.
joke master and timer, and I'll put it in the agenda.
Thank
Mhm.
you.
I'll do invocation, Jim.
What time's your plane, Chris?
Chris, you're muted.
the plane's not, I have to be at the airport at 10. If you make sure I'm ready the night before, yeah, I can do it. I can do it. I'll sign up for table topics.
Thank
Done.
you. Anyone else?
I'll do
might-
general evaluator, Alita.
Please go online and insert that.
I will.
I don't know if I'll be in town. If I am, I'll pick up a slot if there's something open the night before.
Okay, we still have 2 speaker positions, evaluators, grammarian, counter.
Jim, this is Marie. I will be an evaluator and a grammarian,
Thank you, Marie.
and I'll sign up.
Okay,
I think I'll do a speech.
good show. All right, we're getting there.
Manny.
Va bene.
Getting there. Anyone else, as you decide, please go online and sign up, and we will take a look to see that we can fill this before we get to the meeting. That would be greatly appreciated. With that,
Okay.
give us our best to everyone in our club who is not able to attend today due to their particular circumstances. We wish them well and speedy recoveries.
Yes.
With that, we are done
Thank you.
early. Is there any other comments that we have from any members? Opened up to the general